No one can police or prescribe the relationship you have with your creator in your head. I asked ChatGPT to tell me what constitutes a good relationship with God, and the answers kind of surprised me and also kind of not. I'm Brianna, I'm a life coach, and I'm here to support you in your religious deconstruction and your connection to God. So I asked ChatGPT about a good relationship with God, and they came up with 10 different components. And it's interesting to me that about half of them have to do with the religion and not really a spiritual connection. So it surprised me to see this written out, but it doesn't surprise me because I do think that that's what people's perception of a relationship with God is. And for many people who are deconstructing or have deconstructed, they end up abandoning their relationship with God or feeling ambivalent toward it because the relationship with God they were offered had a lot to do with practicing the religion. I want you to deconstruct the idea that a relationship with God has to be exclusive to religion. No one can police or prescribe the relationship you have with your creator in your head. I'm just gonna be real, it's in your head. Nobody can tell you what that is supposed to be. So especially if you're deconstructing religion, you can deconstruct these expectations for what it should be. Now, having said that, I do think that there are some things about a relationship with God that transcend the religion, but it's all wrapped up together, so we can't really see that. But I think I see it, so I'm going to tell you. I spent the last 2 episodes clearing the table for us to have this conversation about reimagining your relationship with God. Because, again, I think everything's so jumbled up. So, in the first video, I said episode. In the first video, I talked about Yahweh. Yahweh is the name of the Hebrew God. Yahweh also, according to mythology, had a mom and a dad and siblings. Yahweh was also assigned to the Israelites, and we discussed whether if Yahweh had a physical body, that would give more context to the dynamic between Yahweh as the God and the Israelite people, and how the worship needed to be was in exchange for the things that Yahweh could provide to the people. So I lay that out to help you distinguish between Yahweh and your idea of God, because it doesn't have to be Yahweh. My idea of God is not Yahweh. I don't believe in Yahweh. And I think that's like something important to distinguish so that you can move past it. And I also wanted to really conceptualize the worship piece, because I think a lot of what we think of when we're imagining our relationship with God, or what it used to be, has a big component of worship, a big component of practicing the religion as an act of worship. But I don't think that we are in the same dynamic as the Israelites were. So I don't really think that that has to be a component. I'm not saying you should not worship, but I don't think worship, I don't believe God needs us to worship it. And I don't think that's a requisite for being connected to your creator. So let's get started. This video is for the deconstructing Christian who may still be interested in having a relationship with God, or just still has some feelings about their lost relationship with God. I'm using air quotes because I don't really like the idea of a relationship with God. If you've seen a couple of my videos, you may have noticed that I say, I'm here to support you in your religious deconstruction and your connection to God, because I just don't perceive it to be a relationship, really. It just is. And that's my first point. You are always connected to God. You're already connected to your creator. You cannot be apart from the creator. let me finish my point. So this is for that person who may still be interested in feeling connected. And it's for 28-year-old me who was deconstructing but not deconverting, and just found establishing or regaining my relationship with God that I had when I was in college to be so difficult, like suspiciously difficult. When I was in college, I was heavily involved in the ministry, obviously went to church, read my Bible every day, got Bible studies from there, had a disciple group, all these things that once I graduated and moved, I found difficult to recreate, as many people do. And as a result, I just never really felt close to God again. And then once I was introduced to some new ideas is when I started to have this mindset when it came to my relationship with God. So this is for her as well. So again, the first point is you are always connected to your creator and you cannot be apart. As a Christian, I was taught if you're not growing, you're dying. And that creates this sense of like needing to make something happen, needing to be doing something. But I don't think that's appropriate. I don't see there being I don't know why our relationship, our connection to God should be conditional. Because I don't believe God needs anything from us. And remember, when I say God, I'm not talking about Yahweh. You could be talking about Yahweh. We can be talking about, so I think people say Yahweh. I don't think. People are saying Yahweh and they're thinking about the creator. I'm thinking about the creator and I'm not saying Yahweh. So it's like we're talking about the same thing but calling it different things. And that's fine to me. It's not fine to them, but that's fine to me. I don't perceive God to need anything from us. So why would there be a possibility that my connection be good or bad? I have 2 kids and my youngest is a toddler, and it's even hard to conceptualize a relationship between me and him because he's so dependent on me. We're together all the time. There's nothing he can do that will make me like not feel close to him at this stage. And I just think that would make sense also for a creator to feel about me. Feel. So do they feel? I don't know. My second point is that I think you can assume a creator wants to see its creation serve its purpose. What I mean by that is I think God wants to see us live out this plan that we may believe God has for us. I relied heavily on Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, not harm you, plans to give you hope in the future. And I know that's out of context, but I was like, okay, so God has this plan for me. I'm going to trust that that's what God wants for me. Not just worship, not just sacrifice, not doing these specific things, but like, I think that that's really the purpose of this connection, so that I can become whatever it is that was planned for me to be. This in juxtaposition with an idea that I needed to do all of these things to get God to allow me to be, or to bless me to be, or to give me the secret code. That's how I used to perceive it. And I might be the only one, but I might not be the only one. So basically assuming God is on my side and wants the best for me, wants my unique best for me, helped. The third component for me is that your creator is always ready to provide resources. We have to select the right channel. This speaks to the sin element. And I have an idea of a video about sin, but so often sin becomes about upsetting God, pleasing God, and the point of it being about our actual well-being gets lost. And I can see some rules actually having a good impact on us, but I think a lot of times we have lost the plot, and sin is just about rules. And so I don't see sin that way anymore. I mean, I could just do away with the concept of sin at all, but I mean, I'm still very much wired as a religious person, so I think about sin, but to me, it's not that God is mad at me because of sin, but it's that I'm on the wrong channel. And so that slight change for me has helped has helped me feel like maintain my connection with God and be more encouraged to seek the best state of being for myself in terms of like the things that I choose to do or not do. And my last component that I think this was like probably the number one, because I said that trying to create this relationship was like so hard for me. This concept that spending time with God is being aware of God. This freed me because there's so many things we're trying to do and achieve to please God, to connect with God. But in reality, if we're already connected to God, spending time with God is simply being aware of God. I can offer spending time with God can be as simple as being aware of God. Spending time with God was sold to me as like, this is what you have to do to sustain your relationship. Very human, but you know, if you're already connected, I think the best thing you can do is be aware of that connection. I'm celebrating 10 years of marriage, and one of the things that I've recognized, what I've learned about marriage is so much of it, especially when you have kids, is just living your lives. And sometimes it's healthy just to be around each other. And sometimes what you need most is for your partner to acknowledge that you're there and that you're a person. You don't have to go on a date. You just need them to see you and say hi and to, you know, just be aware of you and your needs in the relationship. And I can't imagine why that wouldn't be also true for a connection with your creator. I'm saying all this in hopes that you can conceptualize your relationship with God, your connection to God, to be something totally different and supportive, something that can make you feel good about life again and give you peace. Because one thing that ChatGPT said was the first thing was faith and trust. And I keep wanting to say she lists that as belief in God's presence and trust in God's plan. I think that's what we really want out of that concept of a relationship with God. And I think we can have it. I think you can believe that God is always connected to you and always available to support you. There's nothing you can do to lose that. And I also think you can trust that there is a plan for you. There is, if you were created and your creator would like to see you be that creation. I want to make two more points. One is that with all of these things and culminating in the last point of just being aware, I think it's so important to deconstruct the idea that you need to be getting somewhere and advancing and, you know, just always changing, which is not bad. It's great to have progress in life, but at some point in my deconstruction, I had to recognize that I have to learn how to just be and not always be trying to get somewhere else. I just have to be. I think that this continuous drive and this sense of urgency is a Christian feature because of you've got Jesus is coming back. I'm thinking about being a kid and like hoping Jesus doesn't come back before I get to get married and have kids. Jesus coming back, or you can die and your friends are gonna die. You need to make sure they don't go to hell. We don't have to like live under that anymore. And the last point that I wanted to make was, I think also a lot of this is we feel like we have to have a certain relationship with God in order to be blessed by God. But I just personally have not found that to be true. When I was at the beginning of the deconversion, when I first started looking at things like, what is going on here? Like being suspicious. I was also in a very tough living situation, me and my husband and my oldest son. And I got so fed up with the situation that I went and got pre-approved for a home loan. And we found a house very quickly. We ended up, well, we put in an offer on a different house. And the day that we did that inspection, the house that we live in now dropped down $10,000. So it was kind of like, anyway, we ended up going to closing with like only having to bring like $64, I think. It was something like that. I don't know the exact number. So amazing. The house was amazing. It was like we were paying the same as we were paying in the duplex we lived in for so much more. The seller left us gifts in the house. The house was so well maintained. It was just, everything was perfect. And I was like, I feel like this is not supposed to happen to me because I'm not walking like I'm supposed to. And my life has just continued to be like that because I guess I'm on the channel of peace. Like I don't have this introjected turmoil, these I don't have this like inner fight trying to be a certain type of person so that I can commune with God. I just know that I'm able to commune with God. It's like assumed, and my life has been fine because of that. So I just want to encourage you and inspire you to reimagine your relationship with God. It doesn't have to be what it was, but it still can be something that gives you hope and trust and belief in God's presence. Please let me know how you feel about this. What does a relationship with God mean to you? Is that something that you desire? And like the video, I think I said that, and subscribe for more content like this. I will see you in the next video.